A warm welcome to High-Tech News, where tech is written with a capital K. Your source for all news covering impactful tech-related happenings from around the globe. I'm Tom Tech, your virtual host. So, a couple of weeks ago, the White House just had what might be the wildest tech dinner anyone's ever thrown. Thursday night, President Donald Trump and First Lady Melania turned the newly renovated Rose Garden into Silicon Valley's temporary clubhouse. The guest list was huge. 30-plus major players flew in, CEOs from companies everyone knows, a handful of venture capital heavyweights, even some political insiders. The whole vibe was a mashup of high-stakes business meeting and expensive garden party. Earlier that day, Melania hosted an AI education summit. Yeah, she's chairing this new AI education task force, and that set the stage for the evening. By dinner time, the Rose Garden looked pristine, and the Oval Office was buzzing as photographers lined up for the shots. Trump posed with the tech leaders again and again. The official photos captured him smiling alongside Meta's Mark Zuckerberg, Google's Sundar Pichai, Microsoft's Satya Nadella, Apple's Tim Cook, AMD's Lisa Su, Oracle's Safra Catz, OpenAI's Sam Altman and Greg Brockman, and plenty of others. Trump kicked off the night talking about AI like it was the moon landing of this era. He called it the next frontier, emphasized keeping American innovation on top, and made it clear he expects serious investments to happen here in the United States. At one point, he turned to Zuckerberg and bluntly asked how much Meta would commit domestically. Zuckerberg replied with a figure that stunned the room, hundreds of billions through the rest of the decade, framed as a pledge to build out data centers and AI infrastructure across the country. The number was enormous and felt like a power move in front of competitors. Several others chimed in with thanks and investment pledges. Sundar Pichai promised billions for education and job training, specifically carving out a chunk for AI-focused grants. Lisa Su spoke about how the semiconductor industry's growth had accelerated under policies that favored chip manufacturing at home. Tim Cook referenced Apple's big domestic manufacturing commitment and thanked the administration for making advanced manufacturing viable stateside. Satya Nadella talked about how vital supportive policies are for maintaining global leadership in technology and said, "Trust in American tech is still unmatched worldwide." Safra Catz described this period as a massive turning point for AI and cloud computing, praising the administration for unleashing creativity across industries. Even OpenAI's Sam Altman and Greg Brockman jumped in, pointing to their Stargate project with SoftBank and Oracle, and how government support had fast-tracked infrastructure on a scale nobody expected. Altman mentioned a significant Department of Defense contract for AI tool development, hundreds of millions of dollars, to underscore that this isn't just about consumer tech, but national security and research too. Brockman spoke in broader terms about optimism and infrastructure, emphasizing that they see the U.S. as the long-term leader if the momentum keeps up. Throughout the evening, Trump kept the tone loose, cracking jokes, praising guests, and making sure the photographers got every handshake. The Rose Garden dinner was the first big gathering there since renovations wrapped in August, so even the setting felt like a fresh statement piece, a modernized White House hosting the world's richest and most influential tech leaders. Elon Musk's absence was impossible to ignore. He later posted online saying he'd been invited but couldn't attend, although whispers suggested maybe he wasn't on the guest list to begin with. NVIDIA's Jensen Huang skipped as well. No surprise for people who know his habit of avoiding flashy group events. The empty seats of two of the most important figures in AI and chips added a little drama to an otherwise glowing showcase. The attendee list stretched beyond the big household names. Bill Gates was there, seated next to Melania, talking about health tech and the possibility of curing diseases like sickle cell anemia and AIDS through advanced innovation. Dylan Field from Figma, John Herring from Lookout, Jared Isaacman from Shift4 Payments, and Chamath Palihapitiya of Social Capital all mingled, each representing different slices of Silicon Valley influence. Vivek Ranadive, the Sacramento Kings owner and Bo Capital founder, was spotted discussing real-time data systems with a few younger founders. Even Mark Pincus, the Zynga guy behind Farmville fame, got some attention as a reminder of how far gaming culture reaches into big tech politics. Behind the scenes, Trump's chief of staff, Susie Wiles, worked the room with veteran efficiency, making sure everyone felt heard. Republican strategist Tony Fabrizio, known for his polling chops, chatted with investors about how tech sentiment could play into the next election cycle. National Finance Director Meredith O'Rourke networked with venture capitalists and startup founders about fundraising strategies. There was a whole subplot around personal relationships, too. Google co-founder Sergey Brin showed up with his girlfriend Geraldine Gilbert Soto, a health coach who looked starstruck when Trump unexpectedly invited her to say a few words. Safra Katz's husband, Gal Tirosh, kept a low profile but was there as well. Greg Brockman's wife, Anna, who became a small legend during OpenAI's leadership crisis in 2023, mingled with other spouses and executives. The mix of business talk, politics, and glimpses into these personal connections gave the night an almost reality TV energy. Reporters covering the evening described it as a turning point, a clear sign that Silicon Valley is recalibrating its relationship with Trump. In his first term, the tech industry's relationship with him was often rocky, marked by public disagreements on immigration and content moderation. But this dinner signaled a strategic shift. Tech companies see the AI boom and chip manufacturing race as too important to risk by staying distant from Washington. They're aligning themselves with Trump's administration to secure favorable regulation, government contracts, and market advantages in a competitive global landscape. Mark Zuckerberg, sitting next to Trump at dinner, remarked that all the companies present were pouring huge investments into the country to build the next generation of data centers and AI systems. He hinted at Meta ending its partnership with third-party fact-checkers, which lines up with a broader policy realignment with the administration's preferences. David Sachs, acting as the administration's AI and crypto czar, floated ideas about how to shape U.S. leadership in these emerging fields, while Palantir's Shyam Sankar discussed how defense technology could evolve under new partnerships. David Limp from Blue Origin, now its CEO after years at Amazon, was another interesting presence. He's been focused on scaling up manufacturing and pushing for urgency in private space ventures. His attendance tied the night's AI focus to broader innovation themes, like space exploration and satellite broadband. Alexander Wang, recently named Meta's chief AI officer after Meta's big stake in Scale AI, was also there, representing the younger wave of AI talent. Sanjay Mehrotra from Micron Technology spoke about memory chips, AI, 5G, and autonomous vehicles, pointing out the patents and innovations keeping America competitive. Throughout the evening, the conversation kept looping back to one thing: the United States leading in artificial intelligence. Sundar Pichai called it one of the most transformative moments in anyone's lifetime. Lisa Su described the incredible acceleration she's seen in semiconductors. Safra Katz said, I would change everything, and Trump himself framed it as America's moment to take the lead in a global race that would define the future. While some journalists outside the event noted that not all details could be verified, some numbers and quotes felt inflated, the overall takeaway was clear. This was Silicon Valley signaling to Washington that it's ready to cooperate for mutual benefit. Even the optics, 30-plus tech elites dining under White House lights, were carefully choreographed to convey partnership and power. The Rose Garden's new look, the sheer wealth in the room, 13 billionaires among the 33 guests, and the mix of AI talk and personal anecdotes made the evening feel almost surreal. From billion-dollar pledges to off-the-cuff jokes, from the absence of Musk and Huang to the presence of Bill Gates beside Melania, every detail fed into the narrative of an industry and an administration finding common ground. For now, that's the story coming out of D.C., a lavish dinner, an evolving alliance, and tech's biggest names publicly betting on America's AI future. And that's where we'll leave it, until the next big move shakes things up. Here are the key takeaways from the meeting. First Lady Melania Trump launched a nationwide presidential AI challenge. This initiative is undertaken to make sure that the United States of America is at the forefront of the future usage of artificial intelligence, making sure that Americans know how to use and implement this new technology. Let us remember that she has recently used 11 Labs' voice AI technology voice over AI tool to make an audio version of her book. The Trump administration makes a strong and long-standing commitment with Silicon Valley, recognizing the vital importance of this key area. Donald Trump motivated the American Silicon Valley billionaires to invest in the United States. Some wild numbers of dollars were thrown around from the heads of the companies. This showed a commitment of the American companies to make America great again. Even though China was not officially mentioned at the event, its long shadow was ever present, and so its competition with the American companies. The president was looking for a commitment of the present tech leaders at the event to make sure their future business interests were centered primarily in the United States. Both the presidency and the Silicon Valley gang have established an excellent groundwork of dialogue for further collaborations. Let us remember that artificial intelligence can be used both to automate the public administration as well as the private industry. All parties share a common goal to make sure America maintains its hegemony in this vital key area.